Interesting players. There are certainly some standout areas that I think JP could do quite well on, and Maple also could do quite well on. Looking at some of the qualifier results, you can definitely see that Maple was the stronger player out of the gate on the very first map. That No Mod 1 was a quite significant score. I believe it was somewhere in the region of around 780k on that No Mod 1. Very, very impressive stuff. But of course, this Green Light Serenade takes it up to a much higher difficulty, so bit more of an ask on this one. In terms of the bans, I'd definitely probably lean towards maybe JP taking out something from the Hard Rock pool, potentially, I would say. Yeah, considering the performance in the qualifiers, that was their lowest performing map, and MaypleFlower, on the other hand, would be the DT2, maybe tapping speed-ish. Not their favorite, but qualifiers a lot different than bracket stage. As we saw in the last match, we saw Doomsday getting some pretty high scores, top scores on some of these other maps, but not quite performing as great in the match itself. The maps definitely play a lot different. Yeah, absolutely. And more on MaypleFlower. I mean, you've got a couple of different options with the two DTs. You've got the DT2, which is much more rhythmic, mixes in a lot more doubles. It's a bit more playable, but it's got a lot more finger control elements. So if that's where Maple's kind of struggling on, then I'd probably lean towards banning the DT2. But there we go. Yep. This is, as predicted, MaypleFlower banning DT3, but JP... Oh, wait. Okay, there we go. But JP, instead of Hard Rock, we see DT1. Interesting. Okay, very fast aim built into DT1. It's very sort of linear style. It's a very old map. And with that, you've got a lot of, like I said, linearity between the notes. You've got a lot of straight sliders. The snaps in that map are literally straight up and straight down. There's no curves or wide angles to it at all. MaypleFlower going straight into No Mod 1. They're one of their best maps in the qualifiers. Absolutely. So I would actually, if we're going down this path right now, I would not be surprised if JP actually picked No Mod 2 right after this as well. Just go back to back. Best scores. Okay, there we go. MaypleFlower, this is their very first pick as well. So hopefully this is the map they're most confident on. And this map, as we all know, very, very awkward notes to hit in this one. Yes. Exactly. The way the notes are placed, the angle at which your cursor needs to move, very all over the place. Sometimes it's a small distance, sometimes it's a big distance. It's very unpredictable at times. It's overall just awkward to get right. It just builds everything that we had in the qualifier pool on that No Mod 1 and just scales it up to a much bigger stage, really. Like you said, very wide angle jumps, lots of back and forths, and of course as well, in the bridge section of the song, which is about 2/3 of the way through to the last quarter, you've got a lot of wiggle aim patterns as well as 1/3 to watch out for. A lot of those will really catch you out if you're not careful. The wiggle patterns in particular, I've seen a lot of people complain about them in my row particularly, so definitely not a fan favorite, but a potential opening for MaypleFlower here as they try and take an early lead in this match on No Mod 1. And checking just there, MaypleFlower sitting at seed 10, actually getting seed 4 on No Mod 1. Yes. That is definitely a great sign for MaypleFlower on this map. Already, very early on into the map, 7,000 point lead in favor of MaypleFlower. Combo pretty close, accuracy majorly in favor of MaypleFlower. JP having some struggles there before the key eye, but now we're into it. MaypleFlower looking very comfortable. JP having still those struggles. Not able to get any combo in there. MaypleFlower does finally miss, but too little too late. 30,000 point lead already established. Yeah, Maple really starting to settle into this map a little bit more. JP can't seem to find a foothold. You've got Maple, who's got very good accuracy, 97, 96%, holding quite strong. JP really struggling a bit more on the accuracy side, and I think that's just an adjustment to this map. I mean, it's 200 BPM. It's not the most comfortable even on the bursts, and Maple with the chain miss there, going to slow things down a little bit, keep it quite close, but JP really needs to hold on to some combo to make some headway and gain some score back.
Yeah, it's a bit ironic. MaypleFlower actually missing the most on the streams than the aim in our No Mod 1. But that's just No Mod 1 for you, isn't it?
Yes.
50 combo lead in favor of JP. JP actually building his accuracy back up. He was down beneath 90 for a moment there, but now at 93, trying to make a comeback happen.
There's
but really struggles on those cross screens there. But MaypleFlower hits it just fine, misses right after it, but it's traded. 43,000 point lead now. Maybe a chance for JP here, but with too little combo, not bringing the accuracy back as much as he wants to. Still just going to hover around 40,000 points.
Yeah, he is trying, you know, we're getting into the
awkward jumps.
That's yeah, those bursts as well. Straight back and forth, very tricky to consistently hit. They're both on a similar combo right now, but Maple has had that early build-up from earlier in the map, so JP is still chasing, can't build anything up after that, but Maple trading, and now we get into the tricky part of the map. This is the bridge section, and there are those wiggles.
Maple hits there, and then misses right after, very unfortunate. I was going to say JP was actually bringing it back there. It was 40,000 down to 30,000 relatively fast, but now JP struggling a lot more in this ending. A lot more space here. Linear patterns, as you mentioned before.
Cross screens,
into the stream. Maple hits it. JP struggles. Now this lead is just going way more MaypleFlower's favor. Still, these players' accuracies have not changed throughout the entire map. 95 and 92 respectively. Maple comboing the ending. Hits the stream. And now it's outro. Should not change the result at all. 91,000 point lead. Very comfortable for MaypleFlower. This is going to be an early lead for MaypleFlower. 1-0 against the higher seed.
Yeah, very good stuff from Maple. I would go as far as to say maybe a slight underperformance from Maple on this one. Looked a lot more comfortable than it actually turned out to be. Could just be
get 300k.
Could just be early match nerves. Could be, you know, adjusting to it's a different day. It's a different setup almost. It feels like when you sit down. But JP's got me maybe slightly concerned. I noticed that obviously there's a couple of streams in that, and I was expecting stronger flow aim on those streams. So maybe not feeling as confident at the higher star rating. You know, the spacing may cause issues. So maybe we won't see No Mod 2 from JP.
I was going to mention that as well. Yeah, we were expecting No Mod 2 considering his qualifier results. That's probably one of the best maps that he performed on in qualifiers, but seemed to miss a lot on the stream patterns in No Mod 1. And No Mod 1, not known for being a streamy map. It's just those bursts really struggling on. But he does do it anyway.
He does.
No Mod 2, maybe No Mod 1 he just wasn't in the flow. All the aim straight into streams, maybe struggle a lot more, whereas No Mod 2 almost all stream. Flow aim maybe feels a lot better in this one.
Yes. It's still aim, but it is a very different type of aim. You've got a lot of accelerating and decelerating streams. So what that means is the cursor has to speed up to hit these notes that are more spaced apart, and then the deceleration is as they begin to compact more and start to overlap a little bit. That's the deceleration. You've got to slow your cursor down towards the end of these streams. And there's a good mix of that in here, as well as the fact that there's a lot of circular streams, which is when your cursor is literally just going in a straight circle while trying to hit streams and trying to flow into them and not chain miss. There is a lot that can go wrong in this map, but it does mean that is on both sides of the equation. So, you know, if JP can take advantage of that, Maple may find they struggle a lot more here.
And JP did have good accuracy in the last map as well, considering that he did, when he hit the streams, have good ac on them at the very least. And JP, as long as he can combo through at least most of this map, I'm confident his accuracy will be well more than enough to take the point back. And as we said about No Mod 1, it is their first pick. Yes. So this should be the map that they are most comfortable on. Both players taking that first stream. JP actually the first one to miss, but look at the accuracy difference already. This is what I was talking about. JP has the accuracy advantage, had the accuracy advantage on No Mod 1. MaypleFlower still with the combo, full comboing, but lead not in their favor. As Score v2 works, it's magic.
Yes, Maple's going to be chasing so much because the accuracy just isn't quite there at the moment. JP, though, still not being able to find a combo. Maple finally goes down, and that puts favor back in JP. The accuracy is just too much in their favor. Nearly 10% now.
Yeah, around about 10% accuracy difference, and even with that massive combo from MaypleFlower, almost 500 combo, the score lead still sits in JP's favor. There's not really much MaypleFlower can do with combo at the moment. They really need to try improve their accuracy as much as possible. Nasty chain miss, now 50,000 point lead. And this map, 4 minutes long, does not feel like it. We are already almost halfway through the map at the break section. Both players now seeing each other's scores, seeing the difference that needs to be made.
Yeah, I mean, Maple, you know, we struggled with some of the chain missing in the qualifier as well, and it was an impressive start to the map, but again, the comfort level is just too great. Even if JP hasn't had the combo to back it up, the accuracy is doing the work for them at the moment.
MaypleFlower misses!
Oh no!
At the slow section, that is where you do not want to miss. Halfway through the map, almost exactly. That is going to give a huge further lead towards JP. Unfortunately, now JP saying over 100 combo ahead. We see quite a lot of 100s on that stream by MaypleFlower. JP working his way back up above 98%. Does find a miss with this huge score lead. It's going to be pretty hard to come back from, but still 2 minutes left, so anything is possible.
Yeah, for JP right now, it's really important that he just tries to settle into a rhythm, not let his nerves take over. He's got the point quite definitively, so the more he can just settle his nerves down and build, you know, if he can finish this map strong with a nice bit of combo, it'll give him a bit of confidence going into the rest of the match. Because at the moment, his combo just isn't quite there. I know this is a very volatile map with the accelerate and decelerate extremes, just like there. They excelled, they decelled. But there is a big ask.
We're in the last quarter of the map now. This is where things get more awkward. This is where the difficulty really spikes. These longer streams, the increased spacing, MaypleFlower having some struggles. JP actually looking stronger than ever on these patterns. Much more comfortable on these spacings. Does miss on the jumps, but overall built up a incredible score advantage on the ending of the map. MaypleFlower really struggling here.
Yeah, Maple, not their map. Had a good start, but I think the stamina may have run out for Maple on this one, even if the chain missing didn't happen. But, I mean, this is one of those maps. If it's not what you're good at, you will not have a good time on it, because it just doesn't let up. It doesn't change in any way. It is purely flow aim. It is purely stamina streams at 200 BPM. That's the whole depth of the map, really. If you can't hit those basic fundamentals, it's not your map. And case in point, it's JP's map, and it's his first point on the board.
Oh, look at the 100 difference there. 30 against 234. Look at the max combo as well. MaypleFlower had a really good start there. 440 combo. JP throughout the entire map, 307. But the accuracy is what made the big difference here. And the miscount, MaypleFlower having a lot of chain misses towards the end.
Yes, absolutely. But there we are. It's one apiece. You know, you've got good first picks from both players. Now we've got to see where their other skill sets lie. Are they going to try and focus more on, you know, Maple, very good hidden scores. Hidden 1, there we go.
I was going to actually mention Hidden 1, considering their Nomad 1 score. The Hidden 1 is very similar in the sense that this is quite aim-heavy. This actually plays almost just like a Nomad 1 with Hidden.
Yes.
So if MaypleFlower is able to read Hidden, there are a few patterns in here which can catch you off guard.
Absolutely.
But I think for the most part, as long as you've played this a few times, MaypleFlower, this is a very good pick for Maple.
Yeah, we are looking at very much what we saw in Nomad 1. The star rating is almost exactly the same. The main difference with this, obviously, is we are applying Hidden, so we are changing some of the factors into this map. And some of the sections that wouldn't catch you out on Nomad may catch you out on Hidden. You know, you've got a lot more of these stacked patterns. I've got in my notes that there's also some rhythmic sections to this map as well. You know, mainly in the slower sections, which most often wouldn't catch you out, but when you're in a map that's mostly aim-focused, it's another layer to the difficulty. So we may see some misses on that, we may not. It may make JP's performance worse, it may make MaypleFlower's performance worse. We just don't know.
Yeah, and JP actually mentioning in chat there, not really confident on this map whatsoever. Both players already dropping a little bit of accuracy there, but that is just the nature of Hidden. Already finding an early miss, and MaypleFlower are already looking much more solid on a map like this. JP maybe Hidden capability just not there, and you know, when mixing that in with the Nomad 1 patterns, this is not going to be a very good time. But if JP can lock in, what does Hidden do? We still don't know. We still don't know.
It's a hidden achievement.
It is a hidden achievement.
It's a hidden achievement to work out what Hidden does. No, for those that are unaware, what Hidden does is it changes how approach circles work. So normally what you do is when you go to click a note, you have an approach circle that gives you the timing. How Hidden works in this scenario is that it just makes the note appear and disappear, in a sense, and the timing is when the note is completely disappeared off the screen. So it's a different timing and approach rate style, which can make notes, there's less notes on the screen, it reduces the density. There is a lot to go through with Hidden, but focusing more on the match, Maple in the better accuracy position. Combos have been going back and forth with a lot of interchaining misses, but overall MaypleFlower looking like the stronger player so far.
Yeah, and the aim going into the stream, into the slider, into stacks as well, especially with Hidden, makes it much harder to read. You gotta really be careful with your tapping at this section. Don't go too fast. Really understand the song. Combo even. Accuracy working its way back up for JP. MaypleFlower wasn't a 98 for a pretty long time there. Has dropped quite a bit, but JP keeps finding these misses scattered throughout the map. You need to find this combo if you want the score to go back in your favor. And at the slower section, MaypleFlower does combo.
Oh, no, JP. Yeah, that was rough. Big difference in comfort with Maple there. Again, the main mechanic of this map is aim. There is a lot of it, and we saw in the Nomad 1, Maple was stronger, so really not surprising for Maple to be dominating this one, but JP's hanging in there, still got above 90% accuracy, not finding the combo. That's the biggest difference between them at the moment, I would say.
Yeah, and with only a quarter of the map left to go, this map is almost the same as in the outro as it is still the rest of the map. So if JP wants even a chance of bringing this back, really need to get that combo up there, but missing on the slower section yet again. MaypleFlower into the break with 160 combo against JP's 10. This is going to increase the lead even further. It does not seem likely that JP can even make a comeback here. Maple's really going to need to mess up, and JP most likely will need to full combo the outro, which
JP.
At this rate.
It's beginning to unravel here, unfortunately, for JP on this map. Really still trying to... Maple's settled into such a good rhythm now. Already at 300, possibly pushing 400k if they can keep this combo towards the end. Look at the aim! Beautiful from MaypleFlower. That's what you want to see. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Hits some more space jumps in the map right towards the outro. Can they combo the rest of the map? Only a few seconds left to go. 450 combo. Misses on the stream on the very end.
Beautiful.
Almost confirms the 200,000 point lead. Just shy of it. Look at that. A rank versus B rank. A quarter of the misses. But I am surprised to see the 100 count as close as it is.
Yeah.
On a map like this, MaypleFlower, I would assume, would be much more comfortable, or JP much less comfortable, but this just goes to show the battle's still on.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that shows it that, when it's so heavily in the mix, yeah, exactly. Next pick, JP coming in thick and fast with these, not wasting any time. But yeah, looking back at those misses, you can clearly see it's purely about cursor placement and just having a comfort on that. Accuracy-wise, they're actually very similar based on the hundreds. It wasn't a rhythmic thing. It was purely an aim thing. But here we go. Monochrome Anomaly. Very different map from what we've seen so far. It's probably most comparable to the DT2 that we saw in qualifiers. Very rhythmic. You've got a lot of doubles, which are 2 notes together. Then you've got the quads, which are the 4 notes together, and you've got them interchangeably with individual notes, so single notes, as well as straight into sliders. So you've got a lot of particular finger control you've got to get on this. You can't over tap. You can't just try and force your way through it. And I think that's why JP's going into it, because Maple was not strong on something that was this similar in the qualifier.
Yeah, and it's great to know that the qualifier results, I'm sure these players are basing what maps to pick off of, and I think these maps that both players have picked so far, 4 maps in, they are all perfect. These are the perfect picks for each other, and really showcasing what they know, demonstrating their skill on their maps. But this map does sit at 2 minutes 28 seconds, very tapping focused. And I think accuracy will play a massive role, especially on a map like this.
Oh,
it will, 100%.
If you're not comfortable on this, you will not have a good time. But first miss comes out from JP. Again, like we saw in the No Mod 2, very similar. Maple, the more comfortable player out of the gate, but you can see it starting to unravel again for Maple. The accuracy begins to slip. Like I said, very particular finger control needed on this. It's even though it's fast, Maple may be more comfortable. It's just not enough on this map.
Yeah, and on the back of comparing to No Mod 2, we're seeing almost the exact same thing where MaypleFlower is able to get that combo in there, but the accuracy side of things, finding a lot more struggles, 84%, and is really having a hard time comboing this section with all the changes in pace, with the distance of these circles changing drastically throughout the streams. MaypleFlower not having a very good time. JP does finally miss, but with halfway through the map, already 110,000 point advantage in favor of JP, 93% against 79. MaypleFlower actually down beneath 80% there. This is what we would expect to see after seeing No Mod 2, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Again, it's very rhythmically challenging, which if you don't put the time in, you're not physically capable of performing at it. I mean, it is still 230 BPM, so even though it's very bursty, it's being comfortable doing those bursts on a regular basis and comprehending the fact, is it a triple, is it a double, and hitting it quite cleanly. That is what makes this map so tricky. But both of them actually holding very good combo right now. Both pushing 500. Maple with a slight advantage, but accuracy so far behind for Maple. Even the miss from JP might not be enough here, because they're chasing 100k towards the end of the map, and it's gone.
500 combo down just like that. Didn't really even make much of a dent because of the accuracy, but still, an attempt was made there.
Yeah.
There's not much of the map left to go, maybe around 15 or 20 seconds. And this is just not gonna happen. 120,000 point difference. Every map so far has been a very clear winner. It's not even been close.
It's all been tactically, tactical picks. It's all been well thought out. They've scouted each other well. They know what they did well on in qualifiers. They also probably know what they're more comfortable on tournament-wise. They're both very well-known tournament players. And, yeah, higher combo for MaypleFlower, though. That's a good sign.
It is.
For Maple.
9 miss versus 17 on a map that maybe you're not so good at. Still having half the miss count as your opponent is definitely a good thing, and even a motivator. And I'm thinking now towards the future. JP has played No Mod 2, DT2. What have they really got left? What stream map can they focus on? Whereas MaypleFlower does have the aim and, I say, physicality as well. They've probably got a lot more in the pool that they're able to pick. And opting for No Mod 3, the best map in the pool. No questions asked.
Oh, yeah, no question. No question.
No questions.
Yeah, Course K Insane Techniques. This makes sense from MaypleFlower. You've got a lot of aim elements that are there. It's not in the same playground as the raw aim we had before. This is very much snap. Back and forth aim. It's short, sharp jumps in a way that is very, very dense. You've got a lot of notes on screen, a lot of movements. Short, sharp movements is the name of the game with this one. But you see some of those elements in these raw aim picks. But I think JP JP's up against it here. It is going to be another tough one because it's still aim focused and it's still on the higher star rating. We'll see if JP is more comfortable on this sort of style, but all signs point to Maple.
Yeah, and with how the match has been going so far with the huge score leads, if the score is a lot closer on this map, JP now maybe knowing what to pick next. 10,000 point lead already. MaypleFlower not having a great time getting accuracy on that initial stream, but this is where the map really starts. Based on the back of what you said, to summarize, this map is very technical. But still, MaypleFlower accuracy disadvantage. Well, not for long. There we go. 95 versus 93. Still with the full combo. JP has missed several times core the way through the map, and this does get harder as it progresses. The end of the map gets very tricky. The timings much harder as well. Also, JP's really struggling.
Also as well, the map's not very long. We've been mostly focusing on some of these longer maps in the early goings of this game. We're now going to the more compact maps. There's a lot more in them compared to, say, a longer map, but the misses do stack up a lot quicker. They punish you a lot more when you miss earlier on. You can't gain it back as fast, especially the score. Scores ramp up a lot quicker as well. So one miss from Maple here could open the door for JP if they can build something up to match. I mean, their accuracies are so close at the moment. 96, 95. It's really close.
Oh, both players taking that space stream. Very hard pattern to nail. MaypleFlower still on the full combo somehow. 670 now. But the ending of the map, the outro, is where it really gets difficult. Both hit the slider stream. JP trying to make a comeback at 300 combo. Does lose it. MaypleFlower still going. A 760 only now misses. There is the miss. And this is, like I said, where the map really gets tricky. 360,000 point lead. A dominant performance. Already secured. Impossible for a comeback. Let's see. What score can they get? 2 misses. The last parrot in the map.
To the end.
Beautiful
finish.
400,000 score lead. If I'm JP, I would be very worried right now.
Yeah, that is an impressive score from MaypleFlower. Very, very good stuff. One miss. The rest was slider ends that they were dropped. Yeah, Maple
shaking.
Understandably shooken from that one. That is fantastic. Nearly 700k. Well over 2/3 of the map FC'd.
Oh.
That is a fantastic score.
JP opting for Hard Rock too. And I just want to mention, every single map so far has been a JP accuracy win. Right?
Yes.
JP has been on the ball today with that 100 account. But MaypleFlower, on the other hand, on the ball with the combo.
Yes.
And in a map like that, where JP may be struggling to hit most of the maps, really spreading out those misses, that is going to be key in taking these points.
It's the perfect storm. You've got one player who is the better overall on the aim and the mechanics, and then you've got the other player who's much more tapping focused and may not have as good raw aim, but has a lot more built-in elements to their tapping and technical ability. So you've really got a battle of two different minds here, two different play styles. And that's really exciting to see. And this Hard Rock 2 does make sense. We did see that JP was the stronger on the actual Hard Rock 2 precision. This one is a bit of a hybrid. You've got some of the early aim elements for the Hard Rock 2. It's going to start off early with some of these precision jumps to kick it off in the first half, and then as we settle into the second half, we'll get into those streams that are very much relevant from the qualifiers. So that might be JP's thinking and thought process behind this pick, but early on, not looking too hot for JP. An early miss to start things off, but Maple heavily behind on the accuracy out the game.
This is just what we see. This is the consistent theme. JP still finding more misses, but as you say, this is the start of the map. The start of the map is more aim-focused. That is Maple's wheelhouse right there. 20,000 point lead now. Maple did find quite a few misses before the break there. And this map, sitting at 2 minutes, 24 seconds. A lot shorter in comparison to most of the maps in the pool, which are around 4 minutes. So a lot can change very fast in this map. MaypleFlower going to really need to try to get the accuracy improved. But this is Hard Rock. This is OD7 with Hard Rock on Scorby 2.
Yes.
Boosting the act might prove to be a challenge, but as long as they can find their zen, as long as they can lock in, the combo advantage is there.
Oh, beautiful. I rate that. I absolutely rate that.
The impossible spitters.
But yeah, like you said, again, Hard Rock makes everything a little bit harder. Like you said, overall difficulty harder. The approach rates jumped up to 10.
Wait, hang on. JP actually really struggling at the slower section, even on the stream as well. This is the first time in this map that MaypleFlower has taken the lead, and it's on the slower section. Does find a miss though, but ultimately, JP is dropping way too many 100s that now the accuracy is actually only a percentage of a difference. But this is where the streams start.
Yes, stream section now going to be building up into the last quarter. This is what JP, I think, was banking on, still keeping it close. Can Maple adjust to these into the last quarter? Here we go, neck and neck into it. And yes, JP takes an immediate lead as Maple hits them all late and early and all over the place. The control isn't there. And as close as it was, it's been taken away in seconds. In seconds.
The amount of 150s that Maple dropped on that very first stream, and it's still continuing to drop. That went from a 92% act all the way down to 81. Like you said, in a matter of seconds, JP still gets through with a 93. Did drop a few misses, but really not important when your opponent is dropping 100s and 50s left, right, and center.
Yeah.
284,000 points in favor of JP there. 3-3. Now MaypleFlower's pick, and this is MaypleFlower's very last pick as well.
Yeah.
Most crucial pick to make if you're even going for a tiebreaker, that is. JP also has another pick after this.
Yeah, one pick each. Pool is starting to dwindle down in size, and that leaves the players with more picks that could flip. We just saw it there. That is the closest score margin that we have seen throughout this match, in all honesty. It was down to 100k between the two of them, so pressure starting to be put on both sides here as they try and find the winning formula through this match. And it's going to come down to these critical picks. Do they still have one more in the bank that can push us towards the final map, the tiebreaker? Where's it going to go? You could see Maple maybe opt in for the Hard Rock 1 particularly. It's actually going to be Funky Bee. Okay, interesting. Interesting pick.
Hey, nothing like a Funky Bee.
Absolute certified banger.
It was very unfortunate. This map was actually banned in our last map on stream. So this is the first time we're going to see it on stream.
Yeah.
Hard Rock 3 ain't nothing like a Funky Bee.
I love it.
Timed.
That was
timed so well.
That was beautiful. Oh, take a bow, sir. That was fantastic. Yes, Maple. Actually, now that I think about it, banking off the No Mod 3, it makes sense. It's very much more of a similar style. We call it an alt map. It's not an alt map, but it is very much cursor control heavy, very much snappy aim mechanics. So this is a solid pick for Maple. It also is probably, I'd argue, one of the hardest maps in the pool, which is why it was probably banned in the last matchup.
Yes.
It does push the difficulty to an 11, so seeing this from Maple, probably banking on JP struggling a little bit more, like we saw on the No Mod 1, on some of the mechanics.
I agree. This map being very tricky, and I'm going to say it again, 3-3, there is not a single map that has been played so far where the scoreline has been close.
No.
I mean, there was the last map where at the halfway mark it was very even, 1-1, but then the ending hit and then it went all the way down to 120k. So can we get a closer one on this one? JP did not show confidence going into this. Was not very confident in their ability to play it, but look at this. Already an early score lead. Maple really struggling with the accuracy. So is JP. But at the end of the day, a win is all you need. Doesn't matter how you do it.
But again, we're looking at JP. We're looking at the accuracy coming out from JP. It's still higher than Maple at the moment. Maple's dropping a lot of hundreds, and that might work in JP's favor if Maple can't set it into a rhythm.
Here we go. MaypleFlower now taking the lead.
Just
only a quarter of the way through the map. Now it's going up quite a bit as they start to build up their accuracy. Maple now above JP in the accuracy department. JP still finding his misses constantly. MaypleFlower a lot more comfortable at this slower section. That linear really catching both players off guard. Very difficult pattern to hit, and this map is 3 minutes 22 seconds. Only just now past the quarter-way mark. And this map does not let go. It keeps going. Accuracy's 1-1. 10,000 point lead. And like I say, JP keeps finding these misses. But the accuracy, maybe not as high as they would want it right now.
Yeah, it's the mechanical skill on display from MaypleFlower. JP just cannot find it, but is still keeping up with the accuracy. That's what's keeping it so close. We're talking about 10,000 points here. Not even that, because the combos keep going back and forth. The accuracies are the same, but Maple needs to keep calm. Needs to keep focused. Halfway through the map, both of them are trading back and forth. Still up in the air with how this could go. It's going back and forth. It's not stopping.
This map is so awkward. The doubles into the sliders, and then we've got the linears chucked in the mix as well. Both players really struggling on all these patterns. This is, like you say, not an easy map, one of the harder maps in the pool. 13,000 point lead. Now this is a close map. It keeps fluctuating constantly between 13,000 and 9,000. Still a third of the map left to go. All it takes is one combo. All it takes is one good accuracy section. And it can come back. We're now in the slower section. JP does find that miss, but Maple trades it. Still, the score has not changed whatsoever. Look at these accuracies.
Not the time. There we go. We're back. Short delay as they sink, but here we go. It's still back and forth. It's no more than 20k now, but maybe Maple starting to find a bit more combo into the last quarter. Get to the KI time.
Oh, JP finding a lot of chain misses there. Now Maple, 26,000 point lead. This is a lot closer than any other map we've seen so far. There is still time for something to happen with such low scores, 100k. But it seems unlikely.
Yeah, it's coming to the end. Maple has established a nice score margin. Unless we've seen a ton of chain misses from Maple now, it's unlikely to go to JP, who doesn't have the combo all the time to chase this back.
Maple does find a miss right there, but like you say, there's just not enough time for anything to happen. And I think this might actually be one of the only maps that JP has not had the better accuracy on.
Yeah, I'd agree. The raw mechanics of this map just overpowering
so close.
JP's accuracy. But again, he's keeping up with Maple, but Maple is playing a very clever game at the moment, mainly focusing on all the aim maps. Pretty much exhausted the list of pure aim. And I have no doubt that had JP opted to ban any one of those other maps, Maple would have had DT1 as a backup.
Yes.
So I have no doubt that Maple had the exact game plan of what they were going to pick today. And now it's a ball is in the court of JP. He's got to find that one more map.
And I remind you, this is C10 versus C7. We might be having an upset here, but hit it to JP. If you want to win this match, this is where it all starts. You need to win. Hit it to Disconnect.
Yeah, it is
Low AR.
It's something we've not seen either of these players play on as of yet. Very reading heavy. Of course, you've got the AR8, so we're back onto the very dense amount of notes on screen. You've got a lot to deal with here. This is so much more rhythmically heavy compared to most of what we've seen. DT2 is probably the similar comparison here. It's a very short map, which I'm sure the players will be very grateful for, because I don't think any of them are particularly happy about having to play on the on the hidden AR8. It's not their most comfortable skill set, but it is something that they both will have to determine. But I'm assuming JP has picked this with a bit of practice in mind. Yeah,
this map hidden to AR8 is so much different than any other map we've seen so far. This could actually either go either way. AR8 is great. I'm sure that's a hot take right there.
You're killing us.
I'm not sure many people agree with that. MaypleFlower is still on the double S though. It's only the intro, but this is a very short map, and to have such a lead this early on, I think MaypleFlower has maybe put in more practice. JP did find an earlier miss, but it's only the intro. There's still a lot of time for things to go wrong.
Yeah, first quarter of the map down though, we are firing through it here. And again, there's a lot of rate changes on these sliders that you got to watch out for. It's mapped very accurately to the song, but they both trade back and forth, dropping those big combos. But JP ahead on the accuracy at the moment.
Yeah, Maple was doing very well on the accuracy until the miss happened, and they dropped a load of 100s. Maybe this is where things get a bit more uncomfortable on these very shortly spaced streams into the sliders, and this is incredibly close halfway through the map. Going back and forth between these two players, but now JP is really bringing it back. MaypleFlower finding a lot of ugly misses and a lot of 100s as well. JP has found his flow. 95% accuracy, has worked his way back up. Oh, this is very close. Only a third of the map left to go. Such a short map. Both players missing the exact same note. Now we're looking at 14,000 point difference. This is still entirely possible for MaypleFlower.
Oh, it is. Maple is trailing slightly, losing score left and right. JP gets a miss. That's what Maple needs to start pulling it back. You see the score moving towards JP gets another miss, and now it's starting to accelerate a little bit faster. There's still just under a quarter of the map left. Maple takes the lead. Have they found the rhythm? Have they found the time? Are we going to be denied the tiebreaker? Time is running out for JP.
I don't know. MaypleFlower did really good in the intro, but then struggled on the main part of the map, like we're seeing again. MaypleFlower needs to really focus right now. JP also finding misses back to back. They're both trading constantly. There's only a few seconds left. I don't think this could happen. MaypleFlower.
No.
Finding too many misses towards the ending there. Like I said, they did really well in the intro. I think it's just the slower sections of this map. Yeah. MaypleFlower can read it so much better, can play it so much better. But then when it starts to pick up, when the streams start coming in, JP has it locked down. And now 4-4, we are seeing a tiebreaker.
I cannot believe first round tiebreaker. Let's go. Let's bring the hype. This is what you want to see. Fantastic from both players. Both really well scouted between the two of them. JP knew that they were the stronger player on the accuracy. And now we come down to the real battle. Accuracy versus raw mechanics. Who's coming out on top? This is what we need. We need escape to decide. We need an escape. We need a winner.
Yes.
We need a winner.
This map is very tricky. Has some very wonky patterns mixed in there. Though saying that JP hasn't even downloaded the map, which means a sight read is in the book. 5.5 minutes. And with this map being as difficult as it is, I actually have no clue who can take this away. Maple with the aim, JP with the mechanics, with the tapping. May the best cat win. Good luck's put in chat.
We're about to start off the final map. Map number 9, the tiebreaker. This map has got a bit of everything. It's 5.5 minutes, which means there's a lot of time to pack a lot of different elements into the map. You're going to see a lot of 1/3s to start this out. Then we hit some of the raw aim elements, and then we've got the more technical elements, the sliders, the control. After that, and it's going to interchange between them back and forth all the way through this map.
Yeah, and this map, as it progresses, the BPM is constantly being increased towards the very end where it hits the climax. So we might see a close game up until the very end where it can change in an instant.
Absolutely, and this is all for it. This is to go through to the quarterfinal stage. The loser of this map will fall short of that goal and fall out of the tournament, unfortunately. Single elimination, brutal format, but that's how we play it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Here we go, yeah, again, accuracy versus combo. MaypleFlower not finding any misses yet, but JP's still in the lead on the back of that accuracy. Maple trying to bring that back up, now up to 92%. Still very matched. This is the easier part of the map. Like I said, it progresses 1/3 very, very slowly throughout the map, but when it does, it hits hard. Oh, both players struggling on the accuracy side on that triple. Both actually missing on the same note there as well. Maple has lost a lot of that accuracy on these slider patterns. Cannot say the same for JP. He's still hanging in there, 93%. But it's still way too close in such a long map.
Oh
Maple
no,
misses
the
the slider
slow
tick.
slider. Oh, the velocity change caught Maple out, didn't hit the slider tick, drops the combo. And again, accuracy is holding out early on. And really, we've not seen these players play the more technical style of map. You know, the high slider velocity. We've seen little dabbles of it here and there littered throughout some of these maps, but now we're really getting into it, and it looks like it's going to be a very close battle as Maple tries to get some combo, but JP still slightly ahead on the accuracy, which is the difference right now.
Yeah, this is very much so aim focus in this section with the bit of streams and the slider tech, but Maple really bringing it back, the accuracy change, and JP 88% now, down from 92, and he is sight reading this. Will be struggling on these patterns.
Oh, Maple taps too early.
This is where the spacing really increases.
Can Maple make up some headway in this more mechanical section? Map slows down again. JP comes up with a miss on a slower section. That may cost him some score here. Maple, though, does find a slider break, drops it again, and we're still back and forth.
This scoreline has not changed whatsoever. 9,000 points. It's been around this for almost the entire map, halfway through. Only rounded to 3 minutes left of the map. Still loads of time for things to happen. And relatively speaking, this is still the easy part of the map, and this is where JP should shine, but the scoreline barely changes. Actually, it's JP to find those misses. Now MaypleFlower only 2,000 points behind.
Here comes the spacing. It starts to widen, we go more mechanical. JP starts to struggle, Maple can't keep ahead. Accuracy so close right now, but it is JP still with the slight lead. Maple can't find a foothold. They both trade there. Who's coming out on top? We still have no clear answer.
So close. The accuracies are 1-1, 4,000 points now back to JP. We were looking at MaypleFlower taking the lead back on the slightly streamy section, but it seems like MaypleFlower maybe just having more of a rough time with these sliders in this map. JP does get the combo advantage through that section. This is the calm before the storm, and I know I'm saying that, and this part is still incredibly difficult, but it does get much harder.
I think the nerves are starting to settle in for MaypleFlower. I think they're feeling the pressure of trying to win on a single map. There's no more tactics, there's just raw ability at this stage, and JP is on top at the moment. 18,000 points, the biggest margin we've seen so far in this map. There's still a quarter of the map, and Maple just can't seem to find the accuracy that's needed. JP starting to pull really far ahead now.
And the BPM increases, catching both players off guard. This is where the BPM really gets high. 30,000 point lead now for JP. We did see a very big lead earlier on in the map, so Maple can still bring it back, but at the slower section of the map, JP has got the combo, JP has got the accuracy, and it's still going in their favor. But this is where the ending hits. JP finds a pretty nasty miss before the section. How long can Maple hold on for? The score lead can now start to go back, but Maple just has not got the accuracy.
But JP keeps finding misses. Maple still got a combo. Towards the end, it does drop 30k, and that is probably going to do it. We're really starting to run out of time for MaypleFlower here. So little time. The score margin is falling very slightly, but it's nowhere near enough to start pulling back this score. And I think JP's going to sneak this one away.
The BPM, the streams, the aim, the sliders, everything about this section of the map as we get through it. And there's nothing left but outro. 28,000 points for JP, and that was looking so close right until the very ending. Halfway through the map, MaypleFlower was looking to actually take an advantage back. But there it is, 28,000 point lead. JP takes it on the tiebreaker after 4 dominant picks from each player into a tiebreaker that was the closest map that we have seen, which had every pattern you could think of in this map. The perfect tiebreaker. No upset today.
No, unfortunately not. It is a predicted outcome between these two players. It is unfortunate to say, that there is no upset. I love to see an underdog story, but it's not going to happen here. But an incredible match between two very, very competitive players, and it came down to one map. That's the way to look at it. They both had very solid picks. They'd worked out each other's strengths and weaknesses very, very well. It just came down to that last decider, and that's just unlucky.
And let's give credit to Maple as well. Incredible scores on the AIM maps, especially Nomad 1 doing so well in the qualifiers and then not being able to utilize that to get through the bracket stage. And, you know, it really goes to show, as we've been talking about through the entire map, AIM versus mechanics.
Yeah.
That was that entire map right there, that match, sorry, and it came down to tiebreaker as we would all hope for.
Oh, yeah.
But
Fantastic.
With that being said, that is the end of the round of 16. Now we have got quarterfinals. That is the stage we're in now, so hopefully we can get a look at the results from the other matches, if possible.
Yeah, we will.
Here we go.
Update you. There we go. We see the bracket. So this is the lower half that we've been working our way through. Obviously, you see JP and May, MaypleFlower just having their match. Mahmood going through successfully 5-0 against Gooms in what is going to set up for a very interesting lower bracket match between Mahmood and JP.
Yeah, and on the other half of the bracket, if missed it before, Rudge 5-0 against Jack. It's so hard to understand who people are with the acronyms. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you've got Stormer going ahead of Gadrin.
Go.
Doomsday going against. We've just seen this match. We should know this.
Fine, Junior. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, yeah, it's because it's a globe. It's, yeah, okay. Junior.
Yes.
That was a match.
Yeah, and Velcro going 5-0 against Lawrence Bleach. TJ losing to Elf 5-0. So that sets up our quarterfinals.
There's definitely going to be some very interesting matches in here. Stormer versus Velcro Shoes. Aleph versus
Junk
Maniac. Yes, that is also going to be a very good one. And then we've got our two top contenders on the total opposite side of the bracket from each other, Rudge and Mahmood.
Yes, Rudge, of
Probably
course.
the two favorites.
Yep, the EPIC43 winner, and Mahmood, the EPIC42 runner-up. So they are shaping up for another spectacular final, but they've got to get there, and they've got tougher and tougher opponents to meet in the bracket. But we're going to take that short break. We will return in just about 5 or so minutes with the first quarterfinal, Stormer versus Velcro Shoes.